this pitch. Now we've got Luminosity starting on the T side. We've got 3 players with Kevlar. Fallen and Cold are going to have the nades out. 2 smokes and 4 flashes, actually. That's quite interesting for a pistol round on Dust2. Taking initial match control over towards the tunnels here, and the frags are going their way.
Yeah, ready with that aggression in upper dark. It didn't work out very well. Scream needs to do something to make good of this bad situation that G2 are in right now as Luminosity storm into the site. Scream can't connect quickly enough, but he's got teammates Shox and Body coming in just at the right moment. They won't save Scream. It's all on Shox versus 3, and he's got quite a run ahead of him to get to the bomb site even. So this is going to be a tough one. He's got to try to find a kit along the way as well.
Yeah, he was so far away, he was almost lost. But again, he just needs to get himself the 1 versus 1s. And that smoke grenade is going to be a huge problem for him. He's going to be in arguably the worst choke point here. But again, there are 3 players left and there are 3 entrances into B. So he has opportunity. Waiting for someone to serve themselves up, but nobody's over towards the headshot position. That clock continues to tick. There is no kit on Shox. He needs one in the sights here. Or maybe he's resigned himself to playing for the exits. Trying to push in now, but again, this is surely not possible. Can he make any more money? Looks like this round is going to Luminosity. FNX chasing that final frag, but Shox will make a little bit of money going into the next round.
And he survives with 1 HP, James, which is quite nice because he gets to keep his Kevlar, which is always a bonus. And as you said, he gets to get an extra $300, which can really make the difference. Get a scout, and also he already had a kill, so maybe he can get an HE now as well. The scout HE combo, something to that effect could be quite fun to see. And we are going to get the force buy here from G2, so this round should be quite action-packed. But Luminosity, they should be pretty well-versed in good anti-force buy play, and already a scout connection from Fallen. He is definitely a scout specialist when it comes to this map.
Double peaks coming in from the CT side, and yet Fallen's the only man to make a connection there at the beginning of the round. Other than the mid peaks, we have a bit of a passive start here for Luminosity. Again, they're going to wait for G2 to potentially overextend, to hang themselves. Starting to move into the long area now. For leading the charge with the MAC-10. Bit of a specialist with the assaulted weaponry in this game. And Shox is in a great position here. We've seen problems caused by this position in this tournament already with a scout. And if Luminosity start to get tagged, and despite their time and long, then they may be in trouble. Fallen getting tagged now. Smith's getting naded into oblivion here. 4 G2 players left, and they're all on the A sides.
So this is about to be quite a battle here. Already the nades starting to come in here for Luminosity to make their battle somewhat easier. But can they get those opening frags? G2 are ready and waiting. That grenade's going to miss. What? Nice jump shot coming in from Body. What else can he get? Using those barrels to great effect. And that might be enough work because now G2 have a man advantage. They're quite low though. And Cold Zero is cleaning them up. But Scream comes in. And it's all well. Fallen can't even get a moment to line anything up. Scream is too quick. And that is the follow-up round. The force buy working out for G2. Luminosity, they had the right idea, but they're going up against quite some powerhouses in these French players.
Headshots, Dan.
Headshots.
I believe that's how they say it in France. Headshots. They talk about my headshots. 1-to-1. Rough start here for Luminosity. They're going to go for the force buy as well. If we see both sides continue to trade, it might get interesting with constant force buys. We'll see if G2 now can take control of the early parts of this map. 1 person in the B bomb site here, but Luminosity not committed. Just taking map control in the numbers. And Shox not going to rest on the weapon lead there, pushing all the way to top mid. Going to get a lot of information for his team, but got taken down by Cold Zero. Again, all these Luminosity players have Kevlar and helmets for some of them. So that MP9 will be a bonus.
Yeah, this is a really cool pressure buy from Luminosity. They're basically saying right now that they're going to keep the pace up. They never want G2 to have any money, which is a beautiful statement to make. These are some of the most exciting games. And, well, G2 starting to play a bit passively now. They're a little bit worried having lost a player so early. Shox doing the Shoxy, get himself right up middle there early on in the round, not working out. The bomb is towards tunnels right now for Luminosity, and they're looking to build on this. They've got 3 players in middle, and Smith, he's going to be pretty key here because it's going to be a cross, and he hits the shot. Fur is down, and now Smith can back away. He's done enough. He's got the information as well.
2 CTs per site. You can see the intentions from Luminosity. They're trying to fake over towards the A bomb site and then move perhaps into a B split. They have a smoke grenade on Fallen, and indeed he's deploying it now. So the true intentions perhaps being shown here. 2 players in the B bomb site. Are they going to be able to hold? Body coming out of a flashbang. 3 players there. He's going to get some damage in, not really get tagged himself. Playing the close quarters now. He's going to be susceptible to pistols there. A nice frag onto FNX though. Cold Zero coming in from the back. Smith still on the site with a USP. There's another headshot for Smith. Fallen Goes down and Cold's doing what he can. Down to 1 versus 2 now. Massive damage being done here by Luminosity, but can they finish off the job? 12 seconds. The bomb's not going to go down. Smith's getting loads of frags here.
Yeah, so G2 holds. They win with the force buy, hold the force buy of Luminosity. Now Luminosity have nothing that they can do. They didn't get the bomb down, so they have to save, really. It's the only sensible solution to a situation like this. So G2 get an opportunity to build up some cash, and we're going to see Smith going straight onto that AWP. And just as it was noted, he has been doing excellent work so far. He's been making the kills he has to make. And on Dust 2, he's been at his most dangerous on that A side. But let's see how Luminosity play this, because they actually decide to invest here. They're actually not going to full save.
Yeah, again, Luminosity, they did a lot of damage in the previous round, which would explain why they're going for more of a buy on this occasion. You can see the money's all over the place now, but again, I think it was, how many people survived? Maybe 2 in the previous round? Anyway, there's opportunity here for Luminosity, and they're taking a gamble. Maybe with their confidence in the next map, they can afford to do this. Biding the time. Again, G2 have gone for loads of pushes, lots of aggression here, and they're trying to exploit that. But again, G2 have had, over this tournament, a very good read on their opponent's economy. So they pick their spots to push very wisely indeed, and they're not going to play into the advantages of these Tech-9s.
But here they come. They're running out of time, so it's time to make the play. The play is going to be the B splits. The Screams play is going to be killing everyone. He's got the M4, 2 frags from him. He's got support bodies in there, but not for long. Fer will take him down, and that will allow a bomb plant here for Luminosity. They've done damage here. They've got the bomb down, and they can even win the round with this kind of a setup, 2 versus 3. As G2, they're actually quite far away. They've got to wait for the player, which is RPK, to come into the upper dark area, and he's well, I mean, when the bomb went down, he's at T-spawn, so it's going to take a while. When G2 finally go in, they're going to have no time. It's got to go smoothly.
G2 have been really good with meticulous retakes on this map. They have a kit onto Smith, so his position is going to be important if he goes down. There we go, Shocks. The clock is continuing to tick here. How much can Fer do? He's going to get digged. The flashbang comes in, and he's going to be able to waste time now. Hiding behind. Is that defuse going to come in? They might just about be time here for that defuse. It's going to be close, and there it is. G2 all good in the hood, but again, only surviving with 2 players. But surely now Luminosity have little choice. Actually, they have enough money in the bank because of the plant to go for the buy here, so the pressure is going to continue for Luminosity.
Yeah, they've got 3 rounds lost in a row, so that loss bonus is building up. And the AWP is going to be straight in the hands of coldzera. He saved a lot of money in the previous round, actually, $2,700, whilst the rest of his teammates even bought fully. So he's got the big green gun, but what can he do with it? So he's going to be up against Smith, but Smith typically has been quite defensive when it comes to his approach to the start of rounds on Dust 2. We very rarely see him attacking middle. He typically now these days only does it when he feels like the other team doesn't have an AWP to challenge him. Maybe just AKs or a low economy, something like that. So right now G2 are going to be expressing just what James mentioned, which is that patience, that clinical discipline that has been working out so well for them so far in this tournament. But looks like Luminosity might be setting up a play here. I believe that's the Xbox smoke, and that's going to allow them to take over Catwalk and start to develop a play.
Shox is being very, very active around the map. Definitely a man to watch on this CT side. They have a lot of defaults, the G2 side. One of them is when Shox plays over towards Goose, which he was in earlier. You can often find him going towards CT spawn as well. And now he's all the way over towards long, trying to get a read on what Luminosity might be planning. And it seems G2 will try to hold on to the long position, worst case scenario here, as Short's been somewhat abandoned. But we've seen Smith's power from that car position, stopping players over towards Short. And you can see he's changed up his position as well. He's close to the wall there, which will help him avoid flashbangs, as they will be targeted a little bit deeper, expecting him to be towards car. 45 seconds left on the clock now. Luminosity's got 4 of their 5 players on short for maybe going for a late flank here towards long.
The crazy thing is that G2 have kind of gambled with a setup like this, that they don't have almost anyone in B, it's just 1 player. It's going to be 4 players defending this push, and that's something Luminosity don't know because they didn't play the information too much. And Smith, he's going to miss the first shot. The flashes are in. There's the first connection from Smith. What else is he going to be able to find from this position? He's going in right now. He's not even playing defensive. He's got so much support. He's straight in for the defense here, but he's not quite connecting, and Luminosity are slowly getting onto that bomb plant. But there are so many CTs. Not a single one has been taken down just yet. This is absolutely mental. We've got Smith there, sitting on the slope, waiting patiently for his teammates to arrive. And arrive they will. And the frags will start to come in. Fallen, push to the defense here on this crate. And he's going to get dinked here from the side, body with the frag. And now it's going to be on coldzera and Fer. And Fer needs to get something done here from the flank. But it's a plant for sure. Fer is coming though, and it's just body left. but for how long? There it is. Cole finally comes in with the AWP, and that really looks strong for the CTs.
Speaking of patience, Fur was standing outside long for ages. There were 3 CTs on long. He let them push the site. coldzera was just watching his back on short. He knows Fur is the money man there, taking players down. This is the 3rd kill he's going for here in the round. Very strong stuff by Luminosity. G2 with the numbers over towards A, but it still wasn't enough because Fur and co just waited long enough to allow them to be distracted elsewhere. And then the lethal kills came in. And look what it's done to the G2 economy. Those force buys, those half buys from Luminosity earlier on have broken the money for G2 immediately.
And that's the classic Smith's play. Flash over the top, peek mid with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, you can do it with a scout because of the mobility when you're scoped in. Can't really do it with the AWP anymore since it was nerfed. Can't go for those crouch peeks. So it's a lot riskier because you move a lot slower once you're scoped in with the big green gun. Body's taking some initial damage. 3 players of Kevlar here, a bunch of Deagles as well. Deagles have been dangerous. Speaking of which, Body taking Fallen face first.
Yeah, Deagles for days. And Luminosity likely just going to go for that A-long play now. It's one of the safest force buy type strategies. When there's a few dangerous pistols or weapons, you can just get your back against that wall altogether, play the trades, use grenades very effectively, and get onto the site pretty quick. And it looks like G2 have spotted this. They know what's going on. They're going to be pushing dark now. So if Luminosity are slow, they might get caught. But actually, it looks like they've realized that they've given away too much information. They're going to double back. Oh, but Scream's there with the AK. And this is a problem now for Luminosity because they got 40 seconds. But which side do they go to?
Yeah, they might get into panic mode here. It's time to gamble for the Brazilians. Man down. Scream could be over to the left. It could be over to the right. Could be in another tunnel. There could be people in mid. There are a lot of problems here for Luminosity, and they're going to need these duels to win. Cold's on the AWP. Very capable as well. Look how slow they're willing to play the clock. 20 seconds, and they need to go for the wall. For the raw peak here. Body's position is going to be crucial as well. Oh, Smith with 2! What is that? Smith, where is he? He's coming in from the back. And that's going to ruin the round for Luminosity. That is a brutal double headshot here from the Frenchman.
Yeah, why not? Jumping double headshot. Thank you very much, Smith. I'm sure Scream's going to be thanking him because when Scream peaked, it looked like with the patience we were talking about all day, finally, it gave up a little bit. He peaked prematurely, but this shot, oh my God, that is ridiculous.
Stop the violence and votes. That's all I can say to that. Back and forth we go with these rounds, and Luminosity reduced to the pistols now. It's their turn. Only Taco will have Kevlar on helmet for this round. Then you can see G2 are armed to the teeth. So this shouldn't go well. That said, that's a very good start there for coldzera. No one to respond. Got some HEs coming in. The gun will be taken away. Thrown to Taco with that Kevlar as well. FNX getting taken down by Body elsewhere. And we go down to a 4 versus 4. Again, Taco going to be looking for some raw peaks here. There are no grenades on this T side at the moment. He just needs to simply win a duel, get an opening here for Luminosity.
This has been actually a very dirty game so far. A lot of crazy action. And Taco with that M4 that he's picked up is causing quite some havoc here for the G2 side. They're going to have to rotate quickly now. But there's a player in mid with it's Cold with that Tech 9. He's going to take down Smith. And that's an AWP now on Cold, potentially. I think it can be denied, but Shox has to defend it. It gets completely destroyed by Taco's pistol. And now it's just down to RPK, 1 versus 4. That's a tough situation. Even though only one of them had Kevlar, coldzera causing problems there in middle, that Tech 9. And yeah, this game is scrappy. That is one way to describe it so far. 4-3 now as Luminosity bring another round back. And because it's been so scrappy, G2 don't have any money really to buy with in this round.
Indeed, it's always going to be more expensive for the CTs to full buy over the Ts. You can get more scrappier buys in, but that wasn't even a buy. It was some mere pistols. Only one player had armor. This is absurd. Only a 1-round lead now for G2, and again, they should lose the round. They should lose the round because they're fighting with pots and pans at the moment against the full-equipped Luminosity.
Shox has the Deagle, James. That's the win condition.
Indeed. The good thing for Luminosity is there's only one Deagle in play at the moment. We have seen some rounds of more, and it caused lots and lots of problems. And again, Luminosity waiting for that painted aggression from G2. 3 players over towards long now. Again, Shox and Co being very, very active all over the map, trying to get a read, trying to react before the action happens here for Luminosity. See Fur using the ranges here, making sure the CT's on any sneaky positions. Got to be careful on short. There is a blind spot on the corner of that wall as well. Slowly but surely, Luminosity will move towards one of these sites. And again, you can see G2 being active now. Not getting any action towards long. although that fire will attract them like a moth to a flame.
Yeah, I like how G2 have been very good this tournament at playing preemptively, just as you say, they kind of react before stuff happens, even in very slow drawn-out rounds where they have very limited information. That said, Coldzera is going to find himself 2 tasty morsels, and he is going to consume them. And it's going to be down to Shox here, but he's got a lot of players to shoot! There's one! What else can Shox do in this position? That's Eagle. Oh, he gets another one! That is criminal. Shox is able to just shoot so many bullets, and that is gonna happen. Sure, Luminosity still very, very likely to win the round. It's pretty much guaranteed at this point, considering where the remaining G2 players are, but that is some good damage with the Deagle.
There's a lot Shox can do with 7 bullets in a magazine. The hand cannon is real. Not much for G2 to do at this point. Play for some exits. There are 2 weapons down on the map, although over towards the platform, it's going to be hard to retrieve. Scream's given his position away by that failed jump now, although he can still get some damage in here. Very tricky to have this kind of duel, and Taco may not fancy it and move back towards the site. So the score is about to be tied up between these 2 sides. That's a handy Molotov to allow them to rotate towards long. Again, that bomb explosion actually might send those guns towards G2, so maybe they can rescue something yet. Maybe you can see one flying into the hands of Scream there. So something is salvaged in this round for G2.
And that's actually a really big deal, because it's Scream getting an AK, getting the one-shot machine. The one with the one-shot machine on the one-shot machine. Indeed. So let's see if that's going to, play a part in the future, because obviously the rest of G2, the buy, for some of these players wasn't amazing. Got too famous just to have enough grenades on RPK and body. Scream with the AK, or back on Dismiss, and I'm quite curious to see if we have a mix-up of the setup. So far, it looks very standard here from G2. Pretty much the usual play. 3 towards long at the start of the round, then fanning back out. Got 2 on B, but Fallen's found himself in a forward position. This could be dangerous, but G2 are going to realize that this is a possibility, and they shouldn't be peeking. And it is an interesting setup for Luminosity to have 2 AWPs on the T side. Should mean that they play slow, but Fallen's going for the creep.
Yeah, this is a standard crossfire situation where his teammate can cover his back from the left as well. Nice opening frag there on Scream, and Body's in a lot of trouble. He's got a smoke though. That is a very important grenade to have right now, and he may slow things down. Upgrades to the AK as well, but there's still lots of time here for Luminosity to play with. You can see the angle that Fallen was holding on the platform. If you jump onto that platform, even if you're crouching, you can't hide until you get on the other side of the bridge there. It's a common angle if you have a good spawn for AWPers to try and hold. So, 55 seconds. That smoke will obscure, jumps onto short. Now G2 don't really have much information. Luminosity being very quiet, and Shox is going to have to try and take a gamble on which site Luminosity are playing for. Luminosity still with a player in T-spawn at the moment, so they could be going for a similar play over towards A with a very late flank from long.
It is all about to begin here, and G2 with that disadvantage. It's going to be tough for them. They have a man on Goose, and that's the key position in this kind of a play to defend with. And Smith, while he's been good all tournament, is going to continue right here, opening things up onto Taco. Shox biding his time by Goose. Smith has to keep the pressure up. The distraction needs to be real here. And Shox goes for the spray! 2 players down, and the bomb is going to fall with them as Cold has to go for the refrag. He's going to get it, but he's alone against 2.
And he's run out of time here, and Cold will die after the clock, and the AWP is stolen. That is one of the defaults we mentioned earlier. Shox just allowing Smith to be the bait. Now, there is a smoke on the T side, commonly referred to by other teams as the Fnatic smoke, which goes on the top of ramp. It was used to be in the meta, and you can see Smith's abused that position playing close to the wall there, where that smoke would have obscured him, and he would have had to be jumping or standing on the car, which makes it very telegraphed as to where he might be. Smith's has been unstoppable from the car position this entire tournament. No one can seem to deal with it.
Oh yeah, and the difference is made there by him hitting that first shot, because that means that there's too few players to take engagements to get the bomb down, which means it's much less likely they're going to check for Shox. If no one dies by the time they get to Goose, Shox is definitely not going to have such an easy time there. So it's all about the team play. Everyone is helping each other out and putting each other in positions to make the plays. And if you got Shox in the position, if you set him up with the layup, he's going to dunk it every time. And now it's going to be Luminosity. Bit of a faster round here, looking to take mid control. Looks like they want a straight up B split with a lot of focus in towards that middle area.
But again, Shox being very active. He's everywhere. CT spawn, A, long, all over the place. Currently in CT spawn, and he will hear some sound cues from Luminosity as they move around. can see moving back towards A now, just as Luminosity are setting up. And again, if you are expecting an AWPer on the site, something Guardian will do, for example, is stand on those bricks on short. So if there is an AWPer there, he's going to get legged, and Shock's position would allow somebody to punish, would allow him to punish someone who's doing that. And indeed, Fallen looking for some openings now towards B. Scream coming in for a late peek though. FNX though will take down Shock's elsewhere.
And all the action begins over towards B site. Body has to pull out the pistol, but so far he's going to get one frag. And in doing so, he's given his team a chance to get the retake going. But this could be problematic here. RPK has that lurking player towards him in that tunnels position. He does spot him though with the FAMAS, and that was very important. Now the retake can actually be on, but will he expect yet another player to be in the tunnels with a very dirty off angle? And also, not only that, it's Fallen with the AWP, so this should be almost impossible to deal with. Fallen's going to hit the shot straight away, and that is going to just completely close down the chances for G2 to get a retake happening here. So another round for Luminosity. This is such an action-packed game, so backwards and forwards.
Yeah, there isn't much indication at the moment as to who's going to take a significant lead here on Dust 2. Two evenly matched teams. Again, G2 going from strength to strength. Really don't know where their ceiling is in the short term right now. They're just beasting everyone at the moment. But again, perhaps they have met their match on this map, and G2's T side is yet to come. But first, we've got the last 5 rounds of the first half. AWPs coming out again. One on both sides. Saved from the previous round here for Smiths. Not much his team can do around this AWP. So I do wonder if we're going to see some rabid aggression here from Smith. He needs to get some early advantages for his team, and indeed, he's going for these peaks now, these patented flashbangs and such. Fallen trying to get out of dodge in time, and Smith didn't go for the peak there. The second flash comes in. He has support from a teammate as well. And if he held his angle but through the lower doors, he would have taken Fur out immediately. There we go, Fur asking questions now.
I think one of the reasons he backs away there is because it's quite late and there can be players coming close, so he's really trying to play it safe. Perhaps wants that AWP into the next round, and Shox has got a deagle, so there is always hope here for G2. Now, he is lurking around there by Cat. We're looking to see if he can get lucky, but will it be his lucky day? Looks like he's not going to try to push things. He's going to let it happen more organically. Won't force the issue. He's going to be a Smiths and RPK now in middle, looking for any aggression from Luminosity, but they are playing it slow. They're really trying to bait out some response from a very poorly equipped G2, and they know they're poorly equipped. They know that they might do something desperate.
Look at this read from G2 putting 4 people in the B bomb site. This is really interesting because Smiths is going to have the initial angle, and often you'll find that maybe an AWPer in this situation, an AWPer is going to be on one side and everybody else will stack the other. So it might be that if there's an engagement with Smiths here, Luminosity might think that Smiths is the only person on the site and rush in, and then you've got RPK at close quarters, Scream as well, lots of distractions, Body can pop up as well. And Body doing more work with the deagles and more pistols come out. And there isn't time really for Luminosity to rotate over towards the A site. There are 20 seconds here. They're pretty much committed to the B bomb site. This could go horribly wrong, and it is. Only 2 players left now for the T side. Fallen and FNX trying to put in work, but they've got 14 seconds to plant the bomb here. 2 players left now. Pre-fire coming in from Fallen, but it's not enough. FNX is 1 deag away. He needs to take down Scream. He's got 5 seconds to do it. The smoke fails. He's coming in for the spray. 2 seconds. He's going to get a kill here. The Glock is not enough. Scream wins an unlikely round here for G2.
That got really weird. I mean, those kills, those opening kills, they hadn't even seen Smiths yet. He was the trap. They were the bait, and eventually when Smiths actually did get seen, he gets immediately headshotted, of course, by FNX. But what a crazy round. And now it's a 6-5. It's just so crazy. I can't even imagine where this is going to end up after all is said and done. Now, of course, Luminosity, they don't really have much to work with, and not getting that bomb down is really going to hurt their ability to do anything in this round, which they would have had to have saved regardless on. So just a couple tech 9s, and so far, looks like Body's just going to get, 3-1 through the smoke, just as you do. Shox now is going to get a bit of a challenge. There should be one that, well, looks like Scream's going to steal all the frags away. So that's pretty much it here in this round for Luminosity. I think that's the only clean round that we've had so far.
Yeah, that's a very important round for G2. Their economy will still be fragile, but there are very few rounds left in this half. We'll see if Luminosity can close the gap once again. You can see they're feeling the struggle here. It's not easy for either side. Good, tense match coming in here. So we've got 4 AKs and FNX down to the UMP. Luminosity limited on the grenades at the moment. I do wonder if that's going to make for a faster round from them.
This is
Green's
really
up in the boost, and he's got the silence M4 as well, which is more important than having a M4, A4, more bullets, but to give your position away. So perhaps if a split comes in, of which, you know, Luminosity, they like to go through these middle doors here and at least propose a B split to the CT. So Scream might have something to say about that.
Yeah, this style of play that we've seen from G2, where they can sometimes stack 3 players towards B and have this kind of setup towards A. This is actually something that Astralis used to do when they were pretty much the best Dust2 team in the world. That they would actually play like this, and it was a strategy that they kind of tried out for a while, and they couldn't get it to be too consistent. It's kind of gambly, but if you have a really good read on your opponent, then this is something that's very tricky, because the whole point of it is that it kind of makes it look like you're weaker on the site that you're actually stacked on. That's kind of the point about it. If Luminosity were to take the normal routes to gain information, that's why it's such a cool way to play this map. And so far, it has been working out for G2, and they've been so good at preemptively understanding where to rotate. But this round, they may not even have to, depending on if Luminosity really commit to the A play, which does look likely at this point. But breaking long is going to be really next to impossible for Taco. Luminosity's main push on short has to work. coldzera, this push has to work. But Scream is there on the box.
Ooh, we have maybe some surprise strategies coming in there. coldzera in CT spawn at the moment, but Smiths again is delivering here for his team. Going to get caught by his own flashbang, but long is secure. Doesn't need to watch his back. But again, we've got a push coming in on ramp now, and loads of flashbangs onto both sides. The push is going to be slow. Cole coming in from the bottom, 2 kills for him. Finally traded by Body. Shox holding on to the long position. Man, disadvantage now. Got Body rotating towards the short position. All the Luminosity players on the site, they need to hit their shots here. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. Nowhere for them to hide. Shox goes down, 3 versus 1 now, and Body's going to be in a lot of trouble. Fallen going to pick up the AWP, and he's coming back. So it seems they have a read as to where Body is at the moment, and Fallen will finish things off. The gap closes once more.
Yeah, and that's a really nice display there from Luminosity. Just really connecting with those entry frags, and also, Smith's not really having the impact that he had in the previous rounds, and you can see why. coldzera was able to push through CT as he did, and that was the main problem. Cold coming in from CT. Had Cold been shut down by Scream and CT, had Scream won that 1 versus 1, then the round is likely won as well for G2. So coming down to very small margins, these rounds between these two teams, and G2 with another buy, and it looks okay, but they're really lacking utility. That's where they're weak, and it's going to be cool to see how they adjust to that, because they've actually shown that they are quite adjustable, very much depending on the situation. They're not really a static team so far, and especially on a map like Dust2.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of B pushes from the G2 side in this tournament. Perhaps they're giving Luminosity some more respect. Body goes for a peek. He seeks and he shall find the AWP of Fallen straight in his chest. Early advantage here for Luminosity.
Yeah, that's going to be really painful for G2, because they are going to want to take an aggression somewhere, or they want to take a gamble and go the opposite way. Instead of taking an aggression for information and then maybe a kill, the gamble is that you want to stack somewhere and then you play for the safe. So it's kind of the more passive and more safe option of the two. And typically that's going to be more important if you're not too worried about or if you're worried about your economy and so on. But it's so late into this half that I feel like G2 just want to get the rounds on the board. And right now, they actually have the 3 players on the right side of the map, and Smith's going to open up well. Now it's down to Shox. He's doing a good job here. Falls back away from the barrels with a frag to boot. 4 versus 3 now for G2. They are looking very strong, and Luminosity are going to change their mind as to which site they want to attack with 30 seconds left.
Indeed, Smith has been such a problem. We've got a catch-up coming in from Shox. He's going to get punished by Fallen, so now Scream has a lot to do, but we've seen him hold sites on his own before. So far, so good. 1 kill coming in, 2 more people to find. Playing it slow, almost a 2-man spray down here. Taco versus 2 now. RPK and Smith coming in from the ramp position. Is he going to force the issue? Taco picking up the AWP. Might make it hard not to get traded straight in the face. RPK will take him down. Another round in the back here for G2. An expensive round, but a round nonetheless. And they pick up 2 AWPs.
Yeah, that was a very doable clutch for Taco, but it seemed like he just misread how close those players could be. And so you can see the good work here from Scream, where he almost got 3 frags by himself on the bomb site. And that also tells you that, Luminosity in most situations, if they have time, if they feel comfortable, they're going to be able to coordinate into that bomb site so that they can trade just immediately, maximum losing maybe 1 player. And in that situation, they had time against them. They had the rotation against them as well. They needed to get out of the open, so they just kind of ran in 1 by 1. And that was the perfect storm for Scream to abuse. And now, Luminosity in the last round of this first half, they're going to be on 3 Tech 9s, bunch of grenades, and a couple AKs. So what is the play for them? It's going to be tough no matter what.
Indeed. Luminosity have a lot of nades in the bag to play with here. They can execute, but it's not going to be easy. 2 rifles on 5 players. They've made things work with less. Body holding an angle with the AWP now. And bad times are ahead. They are running the gauntlet here. 2 for 2 so far for Body. Misses the 3rd shot. Got support as well, but he is definitely on fire. Can't put himself out in time. Scream trying to hold things down, but he's going to be the one to get headshot. Now it's a man advantage here for Luminosity, and these nades will come in handy. Double smoke's coming out, and the bomb plant should come in soon. G2 coming in for the rotation here. Again, both players coming in from the ramp. Smith's going for the pop flash. RPK will have to put in massive work here.
RPK is ready though, he's going to get flashed in. It's on this entry, can he find anyone? No! It's down to FNX, he's going to easily deliver the frag. And Smith's trying to force his way in with the crowbar. That is the AWP, but it's not going to happen. And it's going to instead be a round for Luminosity for an 8-7 half. 8 to G2, 7 to Luminosity. This was such a back and forth half, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, there's nothing between these two sides. coldzera up there with 17 kills for him, for his team. And Body is on the same, actually, on the T side. So again, we said Body has to show up, and he is top fragging for the Frenchman. That's going to be really important. Everybody is here for both sides. Pistol round in the second half now. Who's going to take the early advantage here? May not last long, based on the way the first half went.
Absolutely. It's been very, very nice to see how close these two teams are playing on Dust 2. Now G2 are going to be moving into tunnels pretty rapidly. Looks like they've been looking at the matchmaking playbook, but Taco is going to find himself a headshot. Shox is dead. Who else is going to fall before the bomb goes down? It looks like it's going to be a Cold who's going to fall there. And that's going to be a 4 versus 4 situation on the retake. And there is a kid on Fallen, but can Scream hold the back. Looks like he's doing a good job so far.
2 more people to find, and there's nothing but headshots coming in. Go for the burst fire, not going to work out, so Fail survives that one. Man advantage here for the T's. It's not going to be an easy retake here. Crossfire coming in from the door, Smith's jumping, and they're going to force Leechy here. 3 versus 1, very smart play by G2. Now they can use those numbers against Ferrer as well. He's got just 1 headshot, but he won't get any more. G2 take the pistol. What is going to be the response here from Luminosity? They can go for the force buy, but on the CT side, maybe that's less favorable for them. They're going to go for it regardless, though. We've got a scout coming out, being thrown over to none other than Fallen.
I remember when they just started kind of reinforcing their Dust 2 game, Luminosity, and we would often see them actually go for plays like this, always getting that scout onto Fallen no matter what. And they've actually saved about $1,000 on 2 players, so they are planning ahead a little bit as well. But let's see if how much damage they can do with what they have invested in. And you can see Fallen is going for the challenge against Smith, and he's going to hit the headshot. Smith will get buried by Fallen, and now Body's going to go for the information play with the rest of his team. But we have all of Luminosity present. And they're going to be taking the frags in. This is catastrophic so far for G2. It's all left to 1 man, but that is the man that you want for G2. He's got plenty of time, but only a Mach 10 and a bunch of guns have been collected, as well as the bomb for Luminosity.
FNX with a very nice angle there. Luminosity going full Sergeant Dokes on the B-bomb site. Nasty surprise there for G2, and again we trade rounds there. G2 now have a decision to make. Are they going to continue the force buy shenanigans, or all day? Nope, they're going to come in for the force buy. So we'll continue. Smith's picking up a scout, a bunch of pistols being picked up as well. 9 to 8, nothing between these two sides. G2 desperately trying to hold on to their narrow lead. AK, the M4's coming out for Luminosity as well. Tons of utility. But again, we saw this in the first half, and the CT's lost this round.
Absolutely, but maybe this time it could be different. If Fer doing the Shoxy, will it work against Shoxy? We'll see, because he's going to go in right now with the M4. There's the first frag. He's going to back away now. He knows they're going to try to trade against him, and he'll easily get the second frag. He's done enough work. He's got the information. 1 for 2, that's okay for Luminosity. Now they can sit back. They've thinned out the push enough, and it's going to be very, very hard for G2 to get in. But again, they've got a Deagle on not just Shox, but Scream as well. And Smith, who has been pretty on point this tournament, he's got a scout. So I would say that this is definitely quite a doable round for G2. They have got Kevlars as well. Importantly
for Luminosity, G2 didn't try to pick up the M4 in mid, and that might be something that Luminosity tried to protect. Although that smoke's definitely not going to help, and you can see Scream instantly goes to pick up the M4. Bearing in mind, 2 of these players have Kevlar. That's a dangerous weapon now in the hands of G2. They've got the time to play with as well. 50 seconds on the clock here. 2 people towards long, and Scream's going to think otherwise about that one. So where do these G2 players go? They've got 2 flashes and a Molotov. They can use them to try and make a gauntlet run over towards the A site, try and get the bomb down, worst case scenario. The opportunity knocks here for the Frenchman. Got Fallen holding an angle towards the car with the scout. And we've got a flank coming in from Luminosity, but will it come fast enough?
Here it is, they're going to go for it, and Fallen will be able to get the scout shot off there, but he's not getting the killing blows, and that is a problem right now, because that's going to mean the money has now been secured of the bomb plant. An additional $800 for every player on the T side, but jumping there is not going to be too easy there for Smiths. He will get taken out, but here is Scream with the M4, also going down pretty easily, but Shox still alive, still with a deagle and still causing problems, but eventually silenced by Taco, and the round can be won by Luminosity. But for G2 to get an extra frag and a bomb plant when they were 3 versus 5, that is definitely a pretty impressive result, I should say.
Very important point at the end there on long. Luminosity stands at the end of long, and they see the scout jumping on the site. They stand and they wait so they can double peek at the same angle. That scout comes up and gets absolutely wrecked. We saw in previous rounds what damage a scout can do if you're running around and trying to get closer to the site there. So they just wait patiently. They have the time to do it, and it pays off for them. 9-9 now. And G2 are going to be on $2.5K to $3,000. So it's time for an eco here. And it's a pretty hard eco. There is a deagle onto Scream, but not much else going on here for the G2 side. Some flashes and a smoke. And again, Fur just doing Fur things.
He's got the M4 as well. We saw it last time. Last time it was 2 frags for him. This time he's going to try and get a better score, and it's looking pretty good. It looks like it's actually going to be equalized, but FNX is there to try to help out. Flash over the top, can't actually get an extra frag here, but they are kind of stuck behind that wall. FNX, though, doesn't want to bite off more than he can chew. Playing it safe, waiting for teammates to come in before he savagely destroys the remainder of the lineup. And that's going to be an easy cleanup of the eco for just the cost of a single man. That is a bargain if I've ever seen one. And G2 will be able to get the buy-in at this point. But James, so far, both halves have actually mirrored each other. Each team has won the pistol round, then they lost the force buy to the force buy in the next round. And if the trend continues, we should see a lost round here for Luminosity.
Double orbs for the CT side. And it was really nice how they only lost 1 player there, got loads of information and cleaned up the mess of G2 players that remained in Fur. On the buy round, Fur cares not. One of the most interesting players to watch with any weapon in the game here. Up to yet more shenanigans. RPK going to get caught unawares, but Fur doesn't want to overextend this time. Scream with a pre-fire, and Fur will run straight into it. Early advantage here for G2. Pushing towards long now. There's only 1 player to defend there, but it's Fallen. Looking over the smoke. There's a wall of smokes coming in there for the T side. Almost hitting the mark there, but the spray down will be real. Scream with 2 kills now.
Yeah, this is getting really bad for Luminosity. FNX will take an aggressive position by the car. They feel like they cleaned it out, and, well, they definitely have. Great Molotov forces FNX into the open. Can he escape? He gets 1 frag, but that's all he can do. He cannot reach the safe haven that would have been the elevator area, and it's going to be Taco now trying to equalize things. Gets the engagement, gets to perfect 1-on-1, even has the edge on the timing, but RPK will be the victor of that battle, and now Cole is just in a position where he has to save the AWP. And G2, I mean, their economy's not amazing, but they can definitely invest in killing him.
Cold Zero running through upper tunnel. Shox is in B. I don't know how the hell he got there, but Shox is in B while the rest of his team are on A, and I'm pretty sure he heard Cold Zero running. Look at the positioning now of G2 before the bomb's even gone down. You've got RPK top mid, Shox coming in for the flank.
Yeah, they're waiting.
It doesn't look like this AWP is being saved unless Cold goes absolutely nuclear here. Again, it's great to see the confidence of to push absolutely regardless, and indeed, nasty surprise coming in. And that surprise is Shox. He's been lurking all over the shop, and it's working well so far. Both teams make it to double figures now. But again, that previous round, Luminosity surviving with 4 players allows them to buy once again. Orb coming straight out onto Cold Zero. Look at that pre-fire, that's glorious.
Wow.
And again, Scream Fallen fired one too many shots there, and he gets punished for doing so. Double ops once again. Luminosity coming straight back with a big buy. This might take G2 by surprise.
So if the trend continues, James, which it has so far, now Luminosity should win a round. So just, you know, this is our guide. We'll see if it actually ends up working out all the way to the end. We've got Shox there looking for that initial engagement. Again, it's so important not to try and challenge an Oppa there. If he's already holding the angle, he's got a better spawn than you, use the grenades. That's a cost of, they use $500 there to make sure that no one dies. $500 to save a life. Now it's going to be down to Luminosity to just play a bit dynamically with these AWPs, because if they play too statically, G2 are very, very good against static teams because they get the entry frag so quickly. You want to try to disrupt G2 before they can get their plans going. I mean, we saw NIP having problems with just that situation, that they could not disrupt G2 before it was too late.
Luminosity playing some blind spots, and that Mag 7 will not be susceptible to the Molotovs. Great smoke coming in just to try and ruin the timing, ruin the intentions of the G2 players should they have chosen to push there. 50 seconds on the clock, and they could go for a B split. They still got smokes and flashes, but they haven't really gone for any investigation towards mid just yet. So it might turn into a lurk instead of a split. We will see. The numbers are coming in, but coldzera is moving towards mid at the wrong timing here. Taco could get traded. He's got nobody to help him. He can't get a second shot on either. coldzera going for a peek, not finding anybody, and they're forced out of the site. This could be a saver in the situation for the Luminosity players once this bomb goes down, and indeed, they have abandoned ship immediately. Very smart play by the Brazilians. So
unless Luminosity can, well, somehow win the round by hiding on A, which is not going to happen. The trend has been broken. The mirror has been smashed. It's been smashed by G2. Now, it's going to be really cool to see with the setup that they have, if they can survive with 4 players, you know, whether or not they'll actually go for aggression in the next round. Because G2 showed us in their previous matches that they're really good in the early and mid round at actually catching teams off when they're trying to play for aggressions. They seem to have a second sense at the moment for just reading when it's going to happen and where it's going to happen from. So I'd be curious to see, because it would be a good round for Luminosity to try to do something like that. But we've got 4 ops on the server, which is really cool to see. That is, you know, some really exciting Dust 2. We used to always get it in the old days with Fnatic versus NIP every time, and it was always a great game to watch. And this one is absolutely just so far delivering.
Yep, still nothing between these two teams. And the interesting thing is, because Luminosity save with 4 players, even if they lose this particular round, their loss bonus will be better once they lose all their weapons, which means they can get back into the game sooner rather than later. That said, there's only so many more rounds that either of these teams can lose in this situation. Both teams high on the utility here, and again, as Dan said, there are 4 AWPs still on the server at the moment. coldzera, I think he should have just spotted Shox getting into position here, and the team are going to walk in with the AWP behind them. Who's going to get first frag though? That meaty Mag 7 coming in, Scream gets told to sit down, so does RPK. Fer will be the only response right now for G2.
Here goes Shox, he's got Taco that I'm not sure if he for sure saw across there, but he might suspect it. His game sense is off the charts, and here they come. Oh, they don't realize Shox is there. First shot connects to no scope as well. And Shox is going to decimate the remainder of Luminosity. Just coldzera left, and he's got that AWP now. He's got a challenge as well coming in. Does he want anything to do with it? Looks like he doesn't. Going to back away there, and the bomb can safely make its way towards A, where there is Body just waiting, and Body has been having a fantastic game so far. He's actually top fragging along with Scream. And I think, was it you or somebody on the desk? Somebody said Body needs to step things up. I think it was you. And well, he's done just that here in this Dust 2 match.
Indeed, Luminosity took a gamble there, and it just completely annihilated the round for them. Unfortunately for Luminosity, so G2 gonna hit 12 rounds now. Cold, maybe in a good spot to save this weapon, actually. That said, there's a reasonable amount of money here for G2, so they may actually go for the hunt. I think that's reasonably likely once they realize that Cold is not going for the clutch play here. So G2 going to pull away from Luminosity a little bit, but again, their loss bonus is higher than it would have been if they went for that B play in the previous round. So we'll see what they choose to do. The money's not going to be spectacular by any means.
And one thing that's scary here with this hunting situation is just this, is that 2 of the 3 players on G2 who wanted to hunt, 2 of them had AWPs. So actually they can stand to lose quite a lot of money if that happens, if just that happens. But that's fantastic work from Body. Manages to find his way back around B, catches his opponent on the flank and picks up the AWP. So the AWP, I think, was saved. It's on the floor for Shox. Shox and Smiths will continue with the AWPs. Actually, yeah, RPK will toss it over to Shox. And the shenanigans with the AWPs will continue. But won't be AWP versus AWP in this round. We've got Luminosity on a save round. So a couple Deagles, or just 8 Deagles so far for them. 5-7, P250s, couple HGs. Not really anything to speak of to work with.
Yeah, but this has been enough on multiple rounds here, Dan, between these two teams. So we'll see if Luminosity can pull back once again. And how G2 will try to identify where these players are. Might be a bit more difficult on this map than some others. 3 people over towards B at the moment for the CTs. G2 going to play the clock. They've got tons of utility, 5 smokes, an army of flashbangs, still a few Molotovs here to try and force these CTs out of position or to limit their position. With no Kevlar, it's going to be a tough round for Luminosity overall. Minute on the clock here. G2 still have loads of time to play with. coldzera will hear the scope. And he'll be smoked off, so he can't make use of his blind spot there in the corner. G2 taking the standard map control, again using those Molotovs to make sure there are no CTs in those close quarters positions. And soon they will be executing onto one of these sites. FNX looking to drop a timely HE. We've still got 2 HEs in play here for the CT side. Are they going to be deployed? One has. And there's been some damage here to the G2 players. Luminosity still have people alive to do some damage with the 5-7s. And here we go. Man advantage soon disappears for suddenly left alone here. Too many people to aim at. G2 will survive with 3.
Luminosity actually did a lot of damage there. They could easily have killed a couple more players. That is kind of crazy. Now 13-10 as expected in the previous round. Definitely was very favorable for G2, of course. And now it looks like we might get actually a tactical from Luminosity, which is the timely place to actually run that. They are on the CT side, so it is harder to get as much value out of a tactical, but they certainly have a lot to discuss. And we have 4 AWPs on the server again, so this is going to be exciting.
Luminosity will feel like they have a very good chance at a 2-0 if they can take Dust 2. So this is a very important time for them. If G2 win Dust 2, then who knows what is going to happen in this series. Once again, we have 4 AWPs on the server here, 2 per side. They need to be somewhat limited for Luminosity. And you have to wonder what G2 are going to think about this. Maybe this will cause them to have a passive start to the next round. Obviously, with 2 AWPs per side, you're likely to get passivity anyway, rather than some fast plays. Luminosity, though, could go for a boost on short, for example, with one of these AWPs. So it's going to be a curious round for both teams as to what they do in the initial 30 seconds.
And the crazy thing as well is that, I mean, just how good Overpass looked for G2 earlier today. I mean, sure, I knew they could play Overpass, but play it like that, I can't wait to see how that actually transpires in the end, because Luminosity might get quite shocked, but maybe not as much as Fnatic, because clearly that was, Fnatic definitely didn't expect it either.
Yeah, I thought that was an unusual map pick between those 2 teams, but Luminosity are absolute beasts. You saw what they did to Na'Vi at the last major.
They're the end boss, right, of Overpass.
They are the final boss of Overpass at the moment, that is for sure, but we'll get to that soon, or maybe we won't. We'll see what transpires between these 2 sides. You can see good vibes in the camp over at G2. Shox will be making sure that his team are focused. They have a 3-round lead at the moment, but they are by no means over the line.
It's a lot to think about here for G2, because they need to assess the options of Luminosity, right? And Luminosity with 2 AWPs. I mean, G2 don't know that they're going to play that style just yet. Of course, Luminosity are very, very well known to pull that out of the bag. Very commonly on train. We saw it in this tournament, how incredibly good it was.
That poor guy. Welcome to the internet, sir. So 5 seconds before this round starts, 3-round lead for G2. What do Luminosity have in store? What is G2's reaction going to be to this pause? Is it going to be fast aggression, or are they going to wait to see if Luminosity go for a gamble here? And there will be no gamble for Luminosity. A standard 2-1-2. Again, G2 with very early positioning around those long doors there. Not really going to get too deep, just in case Luminosity have tricks up their sleeve. The crowd are shaking the entire stage at the moment. I feel
this
the rumbles
building
under
is
my
going to
feet.
fall to pieces. All right, it's going to be just a quick little bit of presence there from RPK in towards long doors. First side to get some information. First position is very important for that reason. And it does look like G2 want to set up this A split, and Luminosity are very spread out. They're not going to be well tooled up to deal with the split unless Fallen can hit his shots from car. And if G2 can disable Fallen with the proper use of flashbangs and smokes, if they truly do go for this A split and make Fallen's life difficult, then it's going to be really, really good for G2 to get on that bomb site, because Fallen is basically the only man to do anything. So that is the major point we need to look for. But G2, they're taking their time a little bit. There are some smokes down.
Look at the lack of utility here for the CT side. They have a few flashbangs, but that's about it. They need to come in with the hard, raw kills here. That's a good start. Fallen's going to deliver just as Smith did in the first half. There are more G2 players coming slowly but surely, but Shox takes down Fallen. Fur was in position, he'll trade at least. 2 versus 4 now, lots for G2 to do.
They can get onto the site though and get the bomb planted, and that's one of the most important things here. G2 securing an extra bank, but can they clutch? His body has been on point so far. Can he be the star of the show here on Dust 2 for G2 as he spots the first player, and Taco loses his head presently now as Smith is expecting. He knows there is someone coming from long, but will the timing work out for Smith? Looks like Body's going to get more frags there. Another one. Now it's just down to Smith. 1 versus 2. He's got the orb. It's not the best gun for the job. It's Cold with the double to save Luminosity in this round. He will get that defuse, and Luminosity will get 11 rounds against the 13 that G2 currently have. And from the financial perspective, G2 are in a really great place.
Double AWPs picked up once again. Very strong collection there by Luminosity, especially when they lose 3 players in that round. An expensive round for them, but then they make some of the money back by grabbing these AWPs. Cold Zero looking for Kukli Airlines, but it's closed for business today. 2 rounds between these 2 teams, both teams on the bye. Despite winning the round, Luminosity have a worse bye in terms of rifles. FAMAS coming out, limitation on their grenades. G2 with the AWP, 4 AKs and full utility as well. So the pressure will continue here for Luminosity. That round win resets their loss bonus, so this is a very fragile time for the team.
So just biding their time here. G2 trying to make sure that no one's going to push those I was going to say apartments there. There are no apartments here. Push the tunnels. Got RPK there. The smoke will go down as well. Some defaults being run here. Lots of smokes down at the moment. In fact, there was actually, I think I saw a smoke on the mini-map that went to crossover, which must be a mistake at this point in the round. But G2 now assaulting Catwalk. They will take that easily, but Fallen's in position for the 1 frag. And he doesn't get it, actually. He doesn't even get a tag. That is a really big deal, because now G2 can get that information. They're still 5 men strong. They still have a lot of nades to go for a set piece here.
Position-wise, this is almost a mirror to when Luminosity went for that play and Fur was lurking outside long for ages. This time it's Shock, so we might see a similar response, but Luminosity don't have the numbers that G2 did at the same time. Shock's trying to pull a rotation once again by putting the smoke over towards the... Oh, we put it over towards car position to stop Fallen, actually. He's going to get flashed as well. What a great play here. Scream coming in now. Fur can hold on to long. No, he can't. The headshot's coming in. 5 versus 2. That smoke is 10 out of 10 there by Shox, ruining the position that Smiths has held for so long on their CT sides. Really nice stuff. Fallen didn't know what to do. Flashbangs coming in as well. Completely wrecked here by G2. This is going to reset their loss bonus as well. Luminosity are in trouble.
Yeah, they have nothing going into the next round. They have to save. They have to save these guns. Taco is going to be able to hold on to his AWP for now, but there's still yet more players coming from the French side. 2 are ready to move in through the doors, and G2's money is so good that they could try to sack a bunch of players in the effort to completely crush Luminosity, and it looks like that's what's happening. Shot missed by Taco, and easily handled by RPK. RPK gets both there, and honestly, that second shot from the screen was utterly disgusting in that last round. Hopefully we'll get to see it here. Yeah, there's the first one. He's going to spin around and boom. I mean, we could see it from first perspective. That was disgusting indeed. 14-11, and Luminosity are forced to use what they have to get a buy-in, but they're not going to spend all their money, actually. They're going to leave at least 1,000 in the bank on majority of the players.
This is such a bad situation on this map for the Brazilians. But again, the pistols have been so strong for both sides. Firm manages to avoid getting taken down there towards long. And that's a very fast take here by G2. Will they continue? Firm still running for dear life here. There are Molotovs to be had. And he's going to make his way off the angle. So G2 have a firm control of long, and they're going to put the numbers elsewhere. Taco coming in for a flank, but he may be in for a nasty surprise. Spots miss, and there we go. Nice tap to the face, and he's going to try and get out of there. Although he can't run, he can't make that distance to the tunnels in time. So he'll go for the element of surprise. Body's going to take him down, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy situation for G2. Everyone's in position now. That was Taco was the main problem. And Shox just had to hit some of these shots, but looks like he's actually going to have a bit of a hard time there. So now another frag going the way of Luminosity. Traded, of course, but that is a 3 versus 3. They don't have a kit, they don't have Kevlar, they don't have grenades, and they don't have any money either. So they might be thinking about just trying to get these guns into the next round where they have another buy, or are they truly going to try to go for this? Got Third moving in the tunnels there. He's got an escort, so if he does die, the AK can be picked up for a follow-up play. But RPK, he's been really fantastic, and he's going to catch FNX as he tries to escape with the AK, although that said, FNX will survive. He's got 14 points of health there, and it definitely is in Luminosity's interest to keep these two weapons. Yeah,
that should mark the end of the round, and coldzera might just be going for a bit of containment here. Although, who knows, maybe he doesn't care about the scout so much. It does help the chances of the AK to be saved as coldzera just tries to apply some pressure here. Ben's coming in, he's picking on the P250. That could have gone horribly wrong there for G2, but fortunately for them, it doesn't. G2 moving towards game point now. Again, this is still going to be a very desperate situation for Luminosity. Is this going to cause them to go for a short boost? Are we going to see some aggression from them from somewhere? We will find out soon enough. Luminosity in the doldrums financially at the moment. Again, this is a map I feel like G2 need to win.
Yeah, I mean, FNX might not survive here. Scream, oh, it's just like Scream did slow down actually, so FNX will be safe. But that was a close one. And the cool thing is that Body is playing so well in a grand finals on stage. You know, this is the player that you don't expect to deliver like a massive fragging from, especially he's one of the least experienced players on the team. So 15-11, one more round for G2, and they are going to move into Overpass with a map advantage. That is the way that they're going to be able to defeat Luminosity. Now, we don't have much in the way of Luminosity here for this buy. Of course, FNX saved that AK. Got a couple of FAMASs of Max 7. It is a jumbo sale buy for them.
Yep, it's a reasonable one, however. It is a reasonable one, but again, they need aggression. Fallen, is he going to have some good timing here? That smoke's going to be a problem. Long has been abandoned by Luminosity. G2 have had a good time over towards short, and now we have numbers over there for the C2 side. Although, G2 asking questions towards long. Gonna take it for free. No engagement today. You can see it, Cold's gonna avoid the angle. Here's the grenades. Luminosity need to fight in numbers. They need to win the trades in this situation. They can't afford to even peek long right now. They don't have many counter flashes. In fact, they've got 1 counter flash and 3 decoys. So maybe those decoys will come into play amongst some anarchy. Only 1 smoke as well. Angle's being held while Scream tries to find out some information. Oh man, that is just ridiculous. So far so good here for G2. Again, this is gain points here for the Frenchman. Go over towards short. Not much he can do though. Shock still coming in on the flank if necessary, but Scream wants to clean up on his own. Trades both sides. Man advantage for the CTs. That's going to soon go though. Fallen alone now with 20 HP. Not much he can do. G2 will take the first map.
What a result there. 16-11 after a very back and forth matchup. They are really setting the pace here against Luminosity. And again, if Body carries this form into the next map, I mean, we know Smith is hitting his shots. Scream is doing his job as well. You can see the confidence there as he goes for the entry frags. This is definitely going to be an amazing second map. And we do have the guys over at the analyst desk are ready to analyze that first map.
Very much, James and DDK. You mentioned it, Body. Let's start with him. Tommy, talk to me about Body. We haven't really talked about him that much on this desk, other than we want him to step up, we want him to do good, but he's always in the shadow of everybody else on that team.
Well, that's sort of the role. It's hard to be a star on the team when you have Shox and Screen taking a lot of the frags out of the way. But I mean, he had a real coming out party in the grand final. Now, we said before that he has high peaks, but he hasn't been a very consistent performer. Now, I mean, he chose the right time to have a good game.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that one of the roles that he's been performing at really well is defending that B bomb site on Dust 2. Even if he's more quiet on some of the other maps, I feel that he's been doing a really good job there. In this game in particular, he's been massive for G2, especially in those force buys and eco rounds, basically, with the Deagle and with the Scout as well.
Now, it's very back and forth. It's like a ping pong match. Talk me through these buys, forced buys. It was insane.
I mean, it reminded me a lot about the Fnatic Envious matchup from last year, where both teams force buy a lot and it goes back and forth, and whoever manages to string a couple of rounds together first, take control of the half, they run away with the game most often than not. And here, honestly, it's been really sloppy in these anti-force buy rounds. Teams deciding to go for B most of the time, which is, you know, a pretty narrow choke point. If you don't go out immediately towards the bomb site, if you don't take the wide peaks, you're gonna get stuck in those tunnels. And we saw it happen to both of these teams. Of course, this disgusting shot from Smith, I mean, you're not gonna see that very often. But still, I felt that both teams could have played it better, and we saw a lot of gambles and reads from teams. G2 especially had a couple of really good reads towards that B bomb site, and in the end they did manage to pull through.
Tommy, what stood out for you?
Well, I mean, we basically saw G2 in peak form, right? That was the case. That was, if G2 were to win this series, it would be because they continue playing exactly how they played in some of the earlier series. Everybody's hitting their shots. They're making all the right calls mid-round, and the little things go their way. Now, obviously, they lost their share of eco rounds or anti-eco rounds in that game, as did Luminosity. I think the one round that really ended up hurting Luminosity and broke their money was the one where FNX had the 1v1 in B at the very end.
Now, did you have a particular round you want to walk us through?
Yeah, I picked out a round. It was in the beginning of it was the one of the anti-force buy rounds, which I felt was a little bit sloppy. But first, it was actually a gun round that happened towards the A bomb site, and we saw in the Fnatic game that they were struggling with defending the bomb site after they planted the bomb, because they had all the players towards short. And here we can see that, you know, the bomb is being planted. Smith's got a kill and he's aggressive towards the ramp area, but here it is Fur on a really delayed flank towards long, and while his team is fighting here, they're just buying time at this point, trying to survive so that he can get to the flank, and he gets these two quick kills. Nobody from G2 is paying attention towards long. He gets this crucial kill on Smith, who was actually holding the angle with the AWP, and I thought that it was going to be a really important round because G2 was on an eco after this, but after this we saw the Smiths double scout kill towards B, so G2 did win the following round, but yeah, it was a really good play from Fur.
And the thing is, when you do something like that, that very late flank, that forces G2 to actively watch out for that for the entire rest of the half, which forces them to be slower on their rotations. And those little things, they just really add up. It's sort of like if you win a round in a smaller bomb site early on, that's going to force the defense to keep a second guy there further, or longer rather, instead of rotating out quickly. So those little things, if you can do them early on in the half, you can sort of affect how the other team is going to have to play. But then, as Janko said, they end up losing the next round and lost all the control with that.
So that was G2's map choice as well. So they do exactly what they need to do. You got to at least win yours, and they take that first map from the #1 team in the world. Moving into Overpass.
We have one more replay, Scott.
Oh, you have two? I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
And this is the one that I thought that actually decided the winner in the end. This was towards the end of the half, and it was G2 going for an A execute, basically. And you can see the smoke that falls right now towards the wall, and that obstructs Fallen for holding that angle that Smith is really good at holding, and allows Scream to just push through. Then he gets this crazy second headshot towards the pit area, but you could see that they exactly knew how the LG team is probably set up with the op towards the car area. They had a perfect execute to combat it. Yes, they had a couple of great headshots in the round as well, but this was in the end what I think that won the game for G2.
And you know that those headshots by Scream, we didn't have the POV of that in there. We had the instant replay during the game. That really sums up why G2 ended up winning that map at the end.
Moving on to Overpass, LG's choice. What are you thinking? Any changes to what we talked about in the first pregame?
I think that LG will be able to bounce back on this map. I think that it was a sort of an anomaly that G2 beat them at Pro League as dominant as they were back then. I just feel that LG will be capable of resetting after that Dust 2 and then coming back stronger on Overpass.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Obviously, Janko said before the game that he thinks both teams are going to win their own maps, and that's how it's going to go to 3. So I still think we're on track for that. Unfortunately, not for my prediction, which saw the game going differently. But hopefully we'll get the third map. I think I'm going to be very interested in seeing how Luminosity plays on the CT side, because after losing the first map, I expect them to be slightly more aggressive perhaps than they otherwise would have been, because I think they want to sort of exert dominance and just get map control early on in the game.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That's going to do it all for our wrap-up of Map 1. When we come back, Map 2, James and DDK are going to bring you Overpass. Don't go away.